Restoration Gathers, welcome. Tonight's Thursday night, and we're talking through worship, and I've got some of my good friends here, part of the worship ministry, joining us tonight. We're going to be singing a little bit and discussing what true worship is and telling a little bit of our stories. So I'm really excited about that. I want to start just by singing, just for a moment here, a song, and I'm going to sing it. I'm going to sing it just like 20 seconds, and then I'm going to tell you why. So here we go. Lord, you are more precious than silver. Lord, you are more costly than gold. Lord, you are more beautiful than diamonds. Nothing that I desire compares to you. Now, the reason why I wanted to start off with that song is because when I first started learning to play guitar and actually worship for the first time from my heart. I mean, I was familiar with churches and grew up in church, but first time I really worshiped from the heart was with that song. And it was during that time, I don't know, it must have been the late 80s or something like that. But songs were really, really simple. And that song, we just sing that one chorus over and over again. And it was out, we used to sing it out by the ocean because I grew up near the ocean. And so that song has always stuck with me. It's a very simple song, but it's a beautiful song. And I often find myself throughout my life going back to that song because somehow the Spirit sort of dug that deep into my heart. And it's kind of intertwined with my own story and my faith and music as well. I learned to play the song that way. So I want to begin with that because I think we all have that. We all have stories that are intertwined with our lives and touch our heart in some way. And so we're going to be kind of discussing that today together on this True Worship episode. So my friends, I'm going to introduce each one of you guys and ask you a little bit about who you are, and we're going to have a great conversation together. So I'm going to start with, I don't know if she's below me in your screen, but in my screen, Lauren is right beneath, right there. So how are you doing, Lauren?
I'm feeling pretty good. How about you guys?
Good. We're doing all right. We miss you.
Oh my gosh. You have no idea how much I miss all of you guys. Like, watching church in my pajamas with my cats is fun sometimes, but I definitely miss dressing up for Jesus and seeing you guys in the worship room and being on stage. I really miss you all, so I'm really happy to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. And over, again, I don't know if he's in your screen, but in my screen, diagonally right here is Dale. So Dale, how you doing, my brother?
I'm really great. I'm so thankful to be a part of the worship ministry, and really thankful for the leaders. You guys do a great job. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Dale. You're always such an encourager, man. You're just like, anybody has a conversation with Dale, they walk away feeling better.
Yes.
That's the way it works. Yes, the way he is. Yeah. And then to my side right here, again, I don't know if that's the way it is for you, but for me, it's Lissa. Hey, Lissa, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. Good. Yes.
During all this coronavirus home stuff, are you home most of the day, or are you out doing stuff?
Well, it's been a little bit of both. In the very beginning, I was home quite a bit, especially with the homeschooling stuff, but we've been able to get a routine where I'm able to go into the office about half the time, and then Andy's able to go into his office half the time. But starting yesterday, Andy's back full time, so it's all hands on deck in the afternoon when we both have to work during the day. So
Right.
I'm grateful for this worship Zoom too, because then I kind of get some alone time. Because I know, Lauren, you're desperate to see people. I'm desperate to be alone a little bit.
You get a lucky. You
Let's
gotta
be alone
sneak a lot.
together.
So it's
Yeah.
a little bit different over here.
Oh man. So I want to go around. I want to talk because I said, a few minutes ago that worship songs, they're intertwined with our stories, and with our spiritual journey. And I know that each one of us has a way in which we've connected with worship songs and with worship in general in some way. And I thought it'd be cool to start off just by sharing some of our stories that way. So I'm going to start off with you, Lauren. Tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey and in relationship to worship.
Well, I mean, I've been singing since I was born. My parents swear in their lives that I was in the crib making little goo goo gaga songs. So, I mean, I feel like God definitely gave me that gift of singing. Like, this is just what I was meant to do. But I've been singing publicly since I was 5. And actually the very first time I ever sang is going to be because of one of our own RPC members, Penny Barth. She was my kindergarten teacher at Springfield Christian. And I was the girl that during reading circle time, stood in the middle and let's sing, let's not read, let's do this. And I used to sing in the bathroom at school. And all of the teachers would come I'd come out of the bathroom and all the teachers would be there in the doorway looking at me and they'd be like, "No, Lauren, that sounded really nice, but you need to go to class now. You're not supposed to be in the bathroom." But she heard me singing, and she got me to sing at a school event. So 5 years old, somebody played the piano and sung the verses, but I sung the chorus, and it was Michael W. Smith sings, "Our God is an awesome God." So I'm at 5 years old going, "Our God."
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so that was my first real singing experience. And then I've just done it my whole life, but I never got to be actually on a worship team. You guys are my first worship team. I've gone to church, grew up in church my whole life, and I would sing specials every now and then, but I was never part of a worship team. It just seemed like it never worked out, or they never had me, or I don't know. So for me, it's made me grow a whole lot in how I relate to my faith in God, because music for me, I love the sermons, don't get me wrong. Wes, Randy, Chad, everybody, Ethan, they preach well, but my time to connect with God is the music. Always has been, always will be. So to get to be on a team with all these wonderful people, I love them so much. I feel part of a family and a group, and then I connect more with Jesus. And because I really believe that our church has this anointing on us, I really believe we are a special church. I just feel even more so connected and centered during worship time with you guys and singing for you guys, and I'm really happy. And I think RPC has really helped me grow more with the Lord, because we're just a good church and we do good songs. And I feel like I got off track, but I hope that made sense.
No, it's good. It's good. So first of all, a shout out to Mrs. B, right? Because she's awesome. She's an encourager, and I know that she shows up on Gathers. I see her sometimes on Gathers. So I hope that she is here and is able to hear that, because we need to be reminded. I don't know how many years she was given herself in children's ministry and all that stuff, but to see somebody like that and say that made a difference, that's cool stuff. So I hope she gets a chance to hear that.
Me too.
But yeah. But yeah, there's something special. There's something different about singing worship, and singing worship as part of a group, right? Mm-hmm. You're touching on that makes our spirit grow in that way. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? What's the difference between, what would you say, what's special about being part of a worship, a team that is worshiping together in front of the congregation and leading them in worship? Do you have any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Me?
No, anybody. I'm opening it up here. One of the things I wanted to explore tonight was what makes worship unique. What makes it different than just, like you were talking about, singing a special song or even a good inspiring song. Worship is something else, right? And so I don't know. I'm just curious what you guys would say about that.
Yeah, I definitely think that worship is very unique. It's much more intricate and maybe even intense than just regular singing to me. Because especially when you're on a team, because you know that everybody that's there is not there for themselves, and they're there to worship the Lord and lift the Lord up. And it's a really unique experience that I'm really thankful that God gave me this gift, that I could experience that, especially at RPC. Because like Lauren, this is my first worship team. I was in a choir when I was younger in high school at my church choir, but I mean, it's different. That was a really cool experience, but it is different when you get to know these people and you get excited when you're like, oh yeah, I'm singing with them this week. I'm so excited, just because, you know, you get those personal connections, and then also I think it makes you more accountable for yourself outside of church. Like you have it's built-in accountability partners when you're on a worship team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got an idea that I'm watching you, you know, seeing what you.
That's not what I meant, but kind of, I guess.
So Lissa, I know you're answering my question, but maybe you just pick up the mic for a minute and tell us what's a little bit about your journey. You said something about being singing in a choir and stuff like that. What's your spiritual journey with worship?
So, kind of like Lauren, I grew up kind of singing, at home and at church, and then, you know, I would join when I was old enough, I joined the choir, and I sang a lot with my family. I actually have a really talented musical family. We, like my aunts and uncles, they sing together and harmonize, and my love is harmonies. I enjoy singing lead, but I just can rest in harmonies. I like it a lot, and I think it's also because the pressure is off of me to be that front man. Just a lot more pressure than doing background harmonies, but I will say, I think for a long time it was just singing, and it was just going along with what we were doing, because I grew up in a Christian home. And then when I became an adult and hit adult things, those old hymns, they started to make a lot of sense. They started to really connect. You know, when you're 10 years old and you're singing "There's Power in the Blood," you're like, okay, there is, okay. But when you're an adult and you are struggling and that song comes on at the moment that you need it, and you know God gave it to you, it's really special. It's really special.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to pass the mic for a minute here to Dale and say, Dale, tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey with worship and how it's connected with your faith.
Well, it's a lot different than performing music. I played in a number of bands, things like that. But when I did that, I was always nervous, you know. But there's something very, it makes me feel at ease to be able to worship, because I just, you know, it's something that it's what we're wired to do. And there's something so fulfilling, whether it's playing guitar or bass or singing harmony with a group or whatever. It means a great deal to me. I can't imagine, you know, not singing. I grew up singing. My grandfather started a gospel quartet back in the 40s. So I grew up around very vocally talented people. And what's kind of ironic is there are 5 kids in our family, but I'm the only one that just, it was for me. You know, I taught myself to play and sing, and it's just come easy for me. So to be able to sing and worship, it's easy. You know, that's the best thing I can say about it. I don't have to, there's an important part about rehearsing, of course, and being good at what you do. But when it comes to the worship part, I don't worry about how I look or, you know, David jumped around and leaping and, you know, those kind of things. And those are all acts of worship.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to sing and play, it's what I was born to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can tell, you know, when man, it's always wonderful to see you up there leading, because it's like everyone knows that whatever is coming from you is just right down in here, and it's just, you know, so genuine and so transparent. And humble too. It's cool. It's really, really cool. Dale, you said that there was a song that was an important song as part of your journey too. What was that?
Well, one of the songs my grandfather and my mom and her sisters, my uncle, they would always sing, "The blood will never lose its power." It's an old Andre Crouch song. So way back in probably 1990, at a little country church on the edge of town called Lake Avenue Christian Church, I got baptized there, and my grandfather was there, and my mom and her sisters, and we all sang that song together at Lake Avenue Christian Church, and then I went and got baptized. So,
Nice.
I mean, I'm just getting choked up thinking about it, you know.
It's like it's like what I was saying at the beginning with my song. That song, it connects with your spiritual journey, and it marks it. You know, like it reminds me of, you know, in the Bible, oftentimes, especially early on in Genesis, we find them building these altars. You know, because something had happened in their life, some key moment where, you know, they had brushed the hem of his robe, you know, and their life was changed. And so they built an altar and they named it. To me, songs are kind of like that. They mark that spot, they mark that place. And then when we go back or we hear that song or whatever, we're reminded, oh yeah, you know what I mean?
Like when you smell an apple pie and it reminds you of grandma's apple pie. And,
right.
You know.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we're wired. And what's so wonderful about music too is it's like, you know, it's fun to watch. You know, those videos you see on YouTube where they've got these little babies and they can barely stand, and then they start playing the music and the kids start bouncing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? It's like our bodies are wired for it. You know, like by nature we're wired for it. And then you take that music, which is such a powerful thing, goes deep down inside of us, and you connect that with our story where God has done something or doing something, and it fuses. It's a very powerful thing, you know, where the music gets down in there and then the words express the truth. You know what I mean? So yeah. So now, Lisa, let me ask you. You wanted to talk a little bit about and share a little bit about the song "Just as I Am."
Yeah.
And now, is there something about that song that is special for you?
Well, I am a lover of old country hymns. Like that's what I grew up on. So that like what Dale was saying, that's apple pie for my soul. I love them, and they are so special to me. I heard "Just as I Am" this week, and it really struck a chord with me. I'm going to read some of the lyrics here. The second verse mainly is what got me, is that just as I am, though tossed about with many a conflict and many a doubt, fighting and fears within and without, Lamb of God I come. And that hit me because being at home for so long, it has really, our family, we love each other, but we've been clashing. Even Andy and I, like the kids have been going crazy just because our schedules are messed up, and it was God just saying, yeah, there's going to be fighting and there's going to be turmoil, and I'm still asking you to come to me because I'm here. And it was very moving. So when you asked me to think of one, that was exactly, I was like, oh, all right. Also, it's a hymn, so I'm
all right. So this is a song that's marking this season, which is no doubt a pivotal season for many of us. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a chord. If you would you sing that song first?
Yes.
All right. So there it is. Can you hear that?
I can hear it. Yes, thank you.
All right. Here we go.
Just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me, and that thou bidst me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. Just as I am, though tossed about with many a conflict, many a doubt, fighting and fears within, without, O Lamb of God, I come, I come. Just as I am, thou wilt receive, wilt welcome, pardon, cleanse, relieve, because thy promise I believe, O Lamb of God, I come, I come.
Wonderful song, wonderful song, wonderful song. So I want to talk a little bit about this too, because we don't often get a chance to share a little bit about what worship is and how we can try to help people worship as worship leaders. You know, we're trying to lead people and draw them in, and you know, I had mentioned last week, which was, you know, some people worship comes very naturally, and then for other people it's a bit of a struggle. And you know, they hear the song, but it has a hard time sinking in, you know. And one of the things I was thinking about when you were singing this song was, you know, the difference between singing the song, singing just as I am without one plea, as if it's just a song and I'm just singing the words, versus the word I like to use is like, I own those words. They become me. When I say just as I am, I'm not just singing those words, but I'm thinking, not just thinking, I'm feeling, I'm calling from my heart. This is what I am. And I'm making those words mine. I'm owning those words. I'm even sort of like wrapping myself up in those words. Like, this is what I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing, you know, as we go on, you know, it talks about conflict and doubt. As those words pass through my mind and I'm singing those words, I make them mine. I wrap myself in them so that they become what my expression of my heart. And that's different than just singing the song. You know what I'm trying to say? You guys, I don't know if you have more to say about that or you want to respond to that in some way, but that this song, Just As I Am, kind of really, I think, is a good one for us to see that. Like, I can sing it, or I can say, you know what? This is me, just as I am. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Go for it, Dale.
What I was going to say is, I don't always, you know, you guys pick some great songs. I don't know them very often, some of those newer songs. And so the first thing that comes to my mind is, I'm not going to like this, or this is going to have to make me work hard. But almost 100% of the time, I put that behind me and I just concentrate on the lyrics. And before I know it, the song that I didn't really think I was going to like or be able to worship to becomes one of my new favorites, because you put your heart into it. I want to worship in spirit and in truth and not worry so much about what everybody else is doing. It's really more of something between me and God. I don't care what somebody thinks if I raise my hands or if I shout hallelujah or whatever. Those are just things that come out with the ease of worship, and worship for me.
Yeah. That's so true. That's good stuff. Lauren, you were gonna say something too, yeah?
Well, just talking about like how different people worship and such, like one thing, Dale, he's always smiley. Him and Sarah to me are like the happy, bright, smiley people of worship team. It always make you feel good. And then basically what I'm saying is I am like OCD, ADHD, high anxiety, high strung, and I'm always an overthinker. So for me, I feel like when I worship, I'm standing here like this singing. Lissa's, got her hands up. Abigail's all in it. Sarah always has like this little bit of a bounce and like a joy. And I feel like I'm just like this deer in the headlights worshiper, but it still means something to me even if I'm standing still. So for me, sometimes it's hard. I feel like if I'm not moving enough or acting like I'm in it enough, that maybe people think I'm not in it, but I'm in it. I'm just in it really deep in my head and not moving so much. But
it
kind of
what
you
do is certain songs. So what? It took me a really long time to feel comfortable to raise my hand. It's a process.
It really is. So like, it's not that I don't love to worship. I guess I feel like I'd always have the worship look, and that's something I'm trying to work on, because for me, letting go is like just being inside, being in it. But yeah, and same thing what Dale said. There's some songs you're like, oh no, I don't like this, and then we do it, and it's like, wow, that was really cool. Or boy, the church is really into it. And again, I just think we have an anointing on our church, and I think every time we worship, it's something special. So I love it.
Yeah, and I want to encourage everybody who's listening to this. This is a time for us to be honest, and I want to say the way that you, Restoration Park Church congregation, the way that you worship and the way you respond to us as worship leaders, it has a huge impact on us. I don't mean to bust you in the chops, but sometimes we come in and we're ready to worship, and it just feels like the room, like no one's ready to do that yet. And it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like we've got to fight to get there. We've got to fight to worship, to try to break down that barrier so that we can worship Him. And any time that somebody from the congregation begins to respond and enter in and glorify God with us, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're helping us lead. You're helping us help you all. And all that begins to break down. And then you start to feel everyone begin to come together. And Spirit begin to unite us. And then we can lead more, and we can lead more strongly that way. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's not just the songs that help us worship, but it's one another. And I want to say that it's the congregation that has a huge impact on how we worship together, and how deep we can go in worship, how high we can go in worship, right?
Kind of like you said, singing alone or singing in a group. A group includes the congregation. We're all this group worshiping for Jesus. So I feel like when we're all gathered together, it's more powerful. It does matter. Yeah. Sorry, Alyssa.
I think too, it's easy for us to stand up there and go, let's worship, because that is our way to connect with the Lord. That's how He's made us. And then there's a lot of people out there, I'm married to one of them, worship isn't his favorite thing, because he just is not the type to just sing in his car. That's not who he is. But
he's more of a rapper, isn't he?
Yes, he and Chad together are rapping a lot. Yeah. So Andy's stress reliever is like working out, and that actually helps him center and focus and be able to be in that, and that's something that he can do. And I don't get that, but I know it's something that I need to do. Same thing with worship. It may not be something that comes naturally. It may not be something that we're super excited to do because it's not our gift. It's not how we connect, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing it. I think once you let your guard down and you're like, I'm here to worship, even though I don't really know how to yet, because, your worship could be standing and not singing, but really soaking it in and letting your heart express these words. Even though they're not coming out of your mouth, God knows what's the content of your heart. So if you're there to worship and all you're going to do is stand and really give him your heart, it's going to be a really awesome experience. So, but I know it's hard, and it seems maybe silly, but I've been able to watch Andy worship even without singing, and it is beautiful. And he will be so mad that I've said that. I mean, it's awesome when somebody, it's not their natural thing, is still able to dive into it, you know, and connect that way. It's really cool. So I even if it's not your thing, give it a whirl.
Yeah. It's good. We don't have that much time left, but I thought what we could do is, Lauren, you're going to share a little bit from a song that you said is important to you right now. And maybe you can say a little bit about the song and what it means to you, and then I'll give you the chord and you can sing it.
Sure. All of our modern contemporary worship songs that we do, you know, I love a little less, a little more than others, whatever. But there's always those couple that are like your cry songs. Run to the Father has been that for me since we started singing it. I think I've only sang it actually once personally myself, but anytime we do it, I'm always like, oh, this song's so good. And the part that always gets me is the bridge. Because it talks about, you know, like, my heart has been in your sights long before my first breath. So you've known me before I've known myself. You've had this plan for me. You've loved me this whole time. And even when I fall or go away from you, you know, I can run back to you, and you are life. You are, now I'm getting off track. But it's just, I don't know, every time that I sing it or listen to it, I'm just like, wow, like this is just a really beautiful bridge. So for me, Run to the Father's been a big thing for me, because I guess probably because getting back into a new church, because after the break off from my previous church, I was kind of like, yeah, church. And then it came to RPC, and I was like, I like this church. I don't want to like this church. And I was like, I really, really love this church. Yeah, so for me, it's one of those songs that I kind of feel like I ran back to God. I came back to God through RPC and through being on worship team with you guys. And it's just an important song to me, I guess. That makes sense.
Sounds good. I'm going to give you the chord. You can sing it for us. Here we go. Is that good?
My heart has been in your sight long before my first breath, running into your arms, running to life from death. And I feel this rush deep in my chest. Your mercy is calling out, just as I am. You pull me in, and I know I need you now. Run to the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, the reason. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Amen. Amen. You know what?
That's why I sing harmony, and she can sing lead.
I miss singing. Listen, on the record, I miss singing with everybody. It is just not the same. My cast do not appreciate the worship music like I do. Maybe like my family go home at their house. It's just, I miss you guys. I love all of your singing and playing, and I just want you to know you guys mean the world to me. Seriously, I miss you guys. And Les is a beautiful singer. I don't want to sing country with you now. It's really bad.
Well, that song it's a good song to close on, because you know, I think it, in many ways, it sums up what worship is. You know, running to the Father, falling into grace. Right? I mean, a lot of us we get so tightly wound, you know, and then when we get into worship, we think, I got to do it right, and then we get wound up tighter. Right? And it's like, wait a minute. You know, this is not about that. This is about letting go, right? Like what you said, Dale, like, come on.
Dale's the relaxed one of the group, I feel like.
Yeah, 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 right. You know, like fall into grace, man. You know, those background, what are those things? Faith falls or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Where you stand there and the people kiss. What are they called?
Trust falls.
Trust falls. That's it.
I love you. I trust none of you to catch me.
Yeah. Worship, man, we need to be more like that, you know, just kind of like, come on, just loosen up. This is not about doing it right? It's just about falling into his grace. Falling into his grace. I don't know. That's what I was feeling when you were singing, Lauren. I was like, that's some truth right there. Am I right,
when
Dale?
When you end this, I'm going to listen to this in the car like 10 more times probably. So.
Most definitely. It's falling into grace. You know, don't worry about what other people think. And man looks on outward appearance, but God looks on the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You guys, thanks so much for joining me. And I really hope that this crazy stuff will end soon and we'll be able to get back together in the flesh and be able to lead again. But you know what? None of us wanted this, but cool things are happening. And even something like this where we have a chance, you guys have a chance to share some of your heart for worship and people get to know a little bit about who you are and what the Lord means to you. That's something we wouldn't have done before necessarily, and now we have the opportunity to do that. So we should be grateful and thankful. Yeah. And I'm thankful for you guys. You're awesome. Thank you.
Love
we
you
will
all.
see you soon. All right. Blessings. Blessings.
Peace.
All right, gathers.